to do this kind of worn out idea of fate versus free will and deciding your own destiny. And I'm going to be honest, I'm one of those people that would really like to believe that fate is guiding my decisions because I don't always make the best decisions. And, I would like to think that it's fate, not just my own free will, that's kind of screwing up my life half the time. So a lot of people, such as Christians, like to believe that there's God and there is some divine force that is guiding us throughout life. And a lot of people really like to believe this because a lot of times we don't want to take full responsibility for our actions, and we like to believe that there is someone that is guiding us in the decisions that we make and the actions that are being taken. So a lot of Greek mythology looked at this too, such as in the movie Hercules, we have the three sisters of fate that actually decide when you're going to die, decide who you're going to meet, and everything else. So it just proves that throughout history, everyone has been wanting someone to really be making their decisions for us because we don't want to take full responsibility of what's going on. So one of the books that I read was Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. And one of the things that I noticed was not the character Caesar, but the character Brutus, because Brutus a lot of times makes these decisions that, it may look like an outside force is guiding him, but really in the end it's his own decision making. And so Brutus ends up deciding to kill Caesar, and he does it because he believes that it will be best for Rome and the empire, because he believes that Caesar really isn't as good of a leader as he is. So in the end, he decides to kill Caesar. And so I looked at if he did this on his own or if there was something guiding him in order to come up with this decision. And what I found out is that it actually came to a psychology outlook that I took for it, as always. And so I kind of came down to the fact that even though that unconsciously he wanted this, in the end Brutus did make his own decision and he decided to do this himself. There was no one trying to make this decision for him. He just decided it all on his own. So the other book that I looked at was The Crucible by Arthur Miller, because I didn't read that in 10th grade, like I was supposed to. And so as we're most likely all familiar with this story, the girls try to conjure up this love potion, and in the end they start accusing everyone of being the devil. And so what I wanted to look at with this book is, did the girls decide to do this all on their own, or was it something that someone was guiding them through? Were someone pushing them to make this decision, or was it just something that they decided to do on their own? So when I took a closer look, I realized that it was more of a group decision, that everyone was making their decision based on the group and wanting to fit into the group. And so that was something really interesting, and I had this follow the leader effect. And so whatever the leader would do, the group would follow. And so they weren't necessarily making their own decisions, they were making the decisions based on what everyone else was doing in order to fit in. So that was really interesting because that differed a lot from Brutus making his own decisions on his own. And so I just thought that that was very interesting, the way that they differed from each other and that they weren't the same. And so it was interesting to see that neither one of these books really used a defined force that was guiding them, but it was basically decisions based on their surroundings and the people around them. And so I came to this conclusion from different movies like Ghost and The Hunger Games, where it is based on fate. If it's meant to be, it's going to be. So even if you don't have a divine force guiding you, and even if you're making your own decisions, if something is meant to happen, it will happen in the end. And I feel like that really showed it throughout the books and throughout the other outside sources that I found, that everything's going to happen whether you like it or not. So you just kind of have to sit back and enjoy the ride and accept it. And there really is no such thing necessarily as fate or free will, it's just what you make it. So